I guess our specific role will be in providing support if needed. But I assume this meeting is more for, I guess, like the volunteers and other staff, I would imagine. But correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I guess that was the impression I got. So usually we don't do a basic training with the basic, but we offered to do it because we have a bunch of online videos. And so from my understanding, it's just going over the basic functions in the web back office of the software and how things are done. So I'm kind of going to do like a mini version of the administrator training that I would do for the full inspector mobile, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Okay. And so it looks like you guys have 2 on-demand inspection tapes. I'm just looking over your setup here. And then are you yourself going to be a user in the system?
I don't believe so. I'll double check and confirm, but I don't believe
Oh,
our
I gotcha.
frequency of work will be too high with regard to using the software. I would imagine our role is mainly going to be like support if needed. But like I said, I could
Okay.
certainly double check.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know who to double check with, so I don't know anybody, but
Oh,
we'll
no, no,
figure it
sorry. I
out.
mean, I'll talk with my colleagues who had kind of been a little more involved in the project prior to my,
I
joining.
gotcha.
Sorry, that's what I meant.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I just want to know so that way I can speak directly to people. Just gonna get your login information here. Okay, well, I think, I didn't double check that everyone said they were going to make it. It's been a busy week, so hopefully some more folks are going to join.
Yeah, I think I guess to my understanding, when I was looking at the email chain from Katie, is I guess the concern was that a lot of the volunteers wouldn't be available during normal business hours, I believe. I think that was
Mhm.
part of the reason for choosing
Yeah,
this
it's
time.
fine. Hey, I got nothing better to do on a Friday night. It's fine with me. I'm just teasing, but I really don't have anything I have to do except pick my son up from football. Hi there. So didn't we just have somebody else join here?
Yes.
Hello.
Yep.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. And so it looks like we're probably still waiting. Are we waiting for, let's see, who else is there supposed to come? That's it. Brandon and Heath, right?
Brandon, Brandon and Heath were out today, so I don't think they
Um,
will. I don't think they'll be able to make it. Unfortunately, that's why. Hopefully, so long as we
gotcha.
have the recording, I'll let them know that they can view the recording to hopefully get a little
Okay,
bit of clarification.
sure. Okay. So basically, so you guys purchased the basic version of Fire Prevention Mobile. And we're going to go over just how some administrative tasks and how the data is set up in there. And how you can navigate around it. I sent a outline along with the invite if you got it. If not, that's okay. It's still in there. You could print it out and then I'll share my screen here so you can see it as well. So let's just start with right here, support contacts. For any, I don't think you guys are doing inspections in the app, correct? No. Or are you? Does anyone know?
I am not aware, unfortunately, but I can certainly look into that for you. So your question was regarding whether we do inspections within
Yeah, so there's
the
2
current
versions.
software.
Yeah, there's
Hmm.
an app that goes with this. But let me see if I could find it here. So I just need to know if I'm going to need to go over that as well. So let's see, one Expector Mobile and then pre-planned. So you have inspection types, but I'm not sure if that necessarily means you would use the app for inspections. I don't think so. So we won't go over the app, but we'll go into the back office there and we'll do some stuff. So, all right. So we have at the top of that outline that I sent over, there's some support contacts. This is our support team here. The hours are Monday through Friday and you're an hour ahead. And so it would be from 8 a.m. your time until 5 p.m. your time, because we have some people in different time zones. And so if it's urgent, we say that to give them a call. And so urgent would usually be something if you're doing an inspection out in the field on the app and you're having some sync issues. But all other questions, you could just go to help@mobile-eyes.com. And then I think I also sent you a form that you can follow to sign up for, so this one here to sign up for the mobile support. And so what that does is we have a new system we've moved to for our support, and that way you can create an account, go in there, choose your product, follow these steps here, and then we're working on bringing these things together. So tickets and putting in live support and training in there, kind of like a user community as well, so you could find information as well as connect with people who are using the software the same way you are. So I would recommend going ahead and setting that up, but you can also send an email to help@mobile-eyes.com. And so then I'm assuming everyone has login credentials. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump into the website. And so that website is www.mobile-eyes.com. And then you're going to use the MF as your username, and password is in here as well. And that's going to be your first login. So what we call it the web back office. And I'll just bring up my screen as well. It's browser based. And the first time you log in, it's going to be that MF one. And I can share this again if you guys need me to. Whoops. I'll make it a little bigger so you can see that. And so it's a double login. The first login takes you to your department site. So you'll see the department name in the upper left-hand corner. And then the second login is for user permission. So each user is using their own email to log in, because we can set permissions to the different levels of information they can access within the system. And so let me know when you are logged in with at least your first login and you see your department on the left-hand side.
I just wanted to mention for me, Brandon had provided me with this documentation. I forget how long ago it was. Might have been about a week or so ago. So I have gotten signed into the portal myself at least. But that's just speaking for me.
Great. Awesome.
Okay, I'm in as well.
Okay, and so are you all the way in? Did you put in your email and then your password as well?
Oh, no, I haven't gotten that far yet.
Okay, no worries. Yep, so that'd be your second login. And I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that you both are set up as users in here and have permissions.
Okay, I should be good.
All right, great. Yep, if you logged in, then you're in. And then how about you, Ryan? Are you in? Yep, looks like you both are in. Are you in, Ryan?
Sorry, I apologize. I had to step away for a moment. Are you referring to the portal?
No, into the actual fire prevention mobile, your website for the department.
Oh, yes. I apologize. I had been in there before, but I can certainly, I'll log back in. Yep.
Yeah, it's just nice if you could follow along. You know, I think it sticks a little bit more. And so I'm just going to walk around the home screen here. So in the middle here, you have what we call hotkeys, and these are just shortcuts to common areas that you will find under this top menu here when you hit it. We put it up in the front here because, excuse me, I think it's a little bit faster to get to these commonly used areas. And then on the right-hand side, you have that help desk number again. And then above that, you have a grayed out question mark that's in a circle. When we go to the different areas of the software, this will light up, and then you can access any online help there by just tapping on it, and I'll demonstrate that when we get to some. The little bell icon here is for announcements. So if there's any announcements that you need to read, this will be lit up and have an exclamation mark there. And you would just read the announcement. So maybe it's an update or something like that. We don't do a lot of announcements as far as like the software goes. But we'll do webinars and stuff like that. For that, we'll use email. But if there's going to be any downtime for something we have to do with the server, then it will be at that, or sorry, it would be in the little announcement key. Next to that, you have these 9 grayed boxes. They're grayed out. If you had other Tyler products like payments or something, they'd be lit up. And then in the right-hand corner, you've got your initials, and that's how you know you're fully logged in. If you don't see your initials up here, you're just at that top level for the department, and you can only access a few different things in here like videos. And so you got your hotkeys here in the middle, and then on your left-hand side of the screen, if you tap that little top menu there, you have the different aspects of the software. Right beneath New Application tab, wherever you see a little down arrow like that, and you hit it and it toggles open, that means there's more information in there. And this is where you can access your occupancy data. And it shows you the different levels that you can access it at. It's the same data, but you're going to be looking at it in different ways, and I'll get into that in just a little bit. And then settings, export, don't need to worry about that. Down here, you've got committing, a little section on committing inspections, and then you've got some other inspection tools here. You've got dashboard and some other things. We'll revisit these things, some of these things here. And then at the bottom, we have your fire reports. So there's several different reports you can run in here once you're using the software to see how things are going or to do some analysis of some kind. And then beneath that, you have this help menu again. And we'll go into that when we're into different areas of it. And then we have the video learning at the very bottom. And that video learning library here has different topics broken down into smaller groups. And then at the very bottom here, we have webinars. If you want to know a little bit more about a particular topic, you could watch a webinar and they just open in the next window. They're nothing fancy, but you can play them while you're working and listen to it, fast forward to it kind of thing. And some of them are really, really short. And so some of the things that I recommend everybody watching is this data structure, because that's really important, and we're gonna talk about that today as well. And then this section here on locations, each one of these little videos, if you have a chance, as well as the training. And so these other ones you don't need to worry about. I'm gonna jump back up here on the home screen. And then I'm just going to show you a little presentation here, because one of the big things about fire prevention mobile, or the biggest hump I encounter while training people, regardless if they're coming from paper or if they're coming from another software inspection, it's been a really long week, another inspection software, etc., is the way we have the data structured. And when I say data, I'm referring to the location, structure, and occupant information for the inspections. And so I just want to kind of go over this because it's really the foundation of the system. Without understanding this, you're going to just make a headache for yourself and make more work down the road. And so I like to think of it as really reflecting the real world. So you have only one location or address. Just like in the real world, we can't have 2 addresses that are exactly the same. And then with that location, you can have one structure, or you can have multiple structures there. And then in a structure, and that has all of your components for a structure, you know, your systems and other information. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank here for some reason. And then you have inside the structure, you can have one occupant or multiple occupants, right? And the important thing to remember is that inspections always happen at the occupant level. Right. And so I'm going to show you on the next slide here. So I'm in Detroit area. And so this is an example of a casino downtown. It has one location. The address is 2901 Grand Boulevard. At that location, there are 2 separate structures. And so we named them. One is the Hotel and Conference Center. One's the casino. So you can differentiate between the 2 there. And in the Hotel and Conference Center, you have the Hotel and Conference Center. These are the 2 unique occupants here. And so if the hotel leaves and retires, this space would be vacant, but everything that's inside the structure is going to stay the same because it's its own thing, right? It has its own systems and its own thing. And same thing with the casino. So the casino is the whole structure. Any information you put in for the structure is for the structure specifically. And then there are 4 occupants here. There's 3 restaurants and a casino. And then you would do the inspection on these occupants here. And if Merriweather's leaves and it's a vacant space, that's fine. They would take, if they had their own system, they would take it with them, but otherwise the structure, of course, is going to remain the same as well as the location. And a rule of thumb is, excuse me, is just to try to mimic the real world as much as possible. So that's why we're showing these kind of different examples that we all encounter around us. And then in the next example, we have an apartment complex, and there's just one address here. It's 2800 Pleasant View Road. And then there are 2 buildings. There's building A and building B, and they're just a kind of a generic structure for it. And then within building A, you have an apartment building, and we've indicated this is a building shell because a building shell means that you would only do an inspection on those common areas of it. So you're not going in each individual actual apartment. And so I like to think of it too as like there's the grandparent, there's the parents, and then there's the kids there. Any questions on that so far?
No, thank you.
Okay. All right, and then our next example here is also an apartment complex, but in this example, each building has its own address. So you would create it that exact way. You put in your location, and the structure doesn't need a name because there's not more than one. And then you would create the occupant for the apartment buildings, calling it the same thing. And then you would indicate it's a building shell because you're just doing, in these examples, an inspection only on those common areas. And so all of these would be found under separate locations. And we're going to create some training data, and I'll show you how to create a complex, and the complex would link these all together. And then in our last example, which is probably super common for everyone, it's a strip mall. So it's at 1500 Woodard, and there's just this one generic structure there. And then in that generic structure, there are 6 different occupants, and each occupant has its own suite number. And so you would do the inspections on the actual occupants here. In some cases, you might find that occupants have their own address versus a suite number, so you can create that as well. Again, the whole idea is to have it mimic whatever is set up in the real world as best as possible. So that way, when you share it with other first responders for pre-plans, it's obvious, but also it keeps your records and your data really clean. Because any information we put in with these 2 is always going to stay with these 2, regardless of anything that happens with your occupants here. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to jump in here and let me do the user settings first before we go ahead and start making some data here. I don't know, what everybody's role is going to be too much, but I'll just briefly go over where the user settings are in case you need to make any adjustments. And so in your little top menu there, if you go down to settings, it's got that little cog icon, just like a lot of phones do and stuff. It will take you to this area here. And in the system, when you see things at the top in Fire Prevention Mobile, it's really, think of it as like a tab kind of deal. So, you go to the next one and you go to the next one. And so we're going to go under user setup. You guys aren't using Teams, and this is obvious what it is. We're going to go into users. And I just want to point out here, so the system is going to look pretty much the same throughout and have the same sort of features. So when you go into different areas of the software, you're going to usually find a black funnel filter that you can tap and it slides out. Some of the filters are very robust and some of them, like this one, aren't. And you're going to get some top information or information at a glance like we have here. We can see first and last name and inspector ID if there was an email entered. Type here is the type of permissions the person has. You're not using the team, and obviously no one's retired yet because you didn't even get started. And then in the right-hand corner, you will usually find the number of matches. So it's a good way to be able to verify if you're looking at things and you look up and you go, okay, no, that's crazy. That's definitely not right, kind of thing. And so you'll also have pencil icons and trash icons and so on. So with that being said, if I was making a new user here, I would go down to add new user. Oh, you are doing stations, okay. And I'll just add myself. And anywhere in the software here that you see this red bold in the back office, it means it's a required field. So it's not going to let you continue until you address it. And so when creating a new user, obviously first and last name, those are required. And then the email address here, and this is not for company inspections, this is just for regular users or inspectors. The email is required because, as you know, you get the email sent to you so you can set your password and that'll become your login. This user ID here is required. And we just go to Actions Suggest ID, but you guys can go back in and change it if you want to use like badge numbers or something else like that. That's totally fine. It just needs to have a number there because we use it in the background to kind of link data together. And then you have a field for phone, fax, nobody uses that. Email address for the report. So obviously there's going to be an inspection report, or maybe not, I'm not sure. You would put your email address there. And then scrolling down here, you have map pin color. So that would be, you would suggest one just for your inspectors there. And then this bottom button for emailing the inspections. If you check that, that means that this person is going to get an email copy of every single inspection that they do there. And so you probably don't want to check that. And so I'm going to go ahead and save that. When I do that, that email gets sent out with the link. And then the second step for all the users is to have permissions. And so I think for everyone today, we probably have all permissions on. You can turn them on at the lower right-hand corner there. And then after the training, a fire marshal or someone should come back in here and look at everybody's permissions and decide what they need to have. I'm not sure if I should go over all of these. Why don't you guys take a look at them, so just for the sake of time, and tell me if you have any questions about them.
I don't
So that
have
way
any
I know.
immediate questions.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Katie. You can go first. My bad. My bad.
I'm sorry, Ryan. I don't have any immediate questions, Deborah. Thank you.
Okay. Did you have one, Ryan?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask. I assume somewhere within the internal documentation, it explains what each of these, functions does in a little bit more detail, just in case we needed to reference it later.
We don't really have any internal documentation like that, but
Okay.
you can go to, we're pretty small. We're like
Okay.
20 people in this giant company, but you can go to this right here. So I guess that is internal documentation. We just refer to it as help.
Okay.
Yeah. And so if you, I don't know why it's not working. So you see how it's lit up now? It's supposed to take me directly to help, but I've been on my computer all day. It may be saying it's time to knock it off. Yeah, I don't know why that's not lit up. It'll light up somewhere else. It's just probably my connection or something. So I didn't mean to make a joke about it, but that is pretty much our internal documentation.
Understood.
Yeah, and most of them are fairly self-explanatory. Yeah, once you figure out roles and stuff like that and who needs to do what, then, you could go ahead in there. And if you can't find an answer, so I'm determined to make that work. It's not going to work, is it? It really does work, I promise you. I mean, I've trained all day, so. So anyway, I'm going to go close that. So that's your user permissions, and that's access under settings and user setup there. And so we can see at a glance all of our users here. And it looks like we have some stations set up to do like some company inspections as well. That's a slightly different setup, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to go into it unless you really need to know about it. So that being said, let's go ahead and move on. So we're going to go back to the top menu, and then we're going to go to occupancy data and toggle that open. And we've even laid out the occupancy data the same way that we assume you would be looking at it. Location data is always first, structure and occupant. So if you're creating a new location or a new occupant, you would always start with location. Doesn't probably make much sense, but let me show you. So go ahead, tap on your location data there. Oh, and are you guys going to add all of your location data? Is that it? Oh, so you don't have any imported. You're going to add it, correct?
Brian, that would be a TS thing, right?
With regard to the exact process with which we'll add it, I apologize. I don't have the concrete process, known myself, but that is certainly something I can confer with my team about, to get the process. And as soon as I have it confirmed, I can certainly pass it on. But yeah,
I
I
got you.
imagine we'll
Yeah,
obviously
you
be,
guys will add it
adding
all.
it. Yep.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. And so right now we're at locations, and as I was saying, in the user side, you're always going to have a funnel here. You're going to have these different fields, and these are all kind of like an Excel document. You can sort ascending, descending. There's only one in here, so it's not going to work now, but you could do that as well. And it gives you information at a glance about that location. So we know that this is the address, this is the city, zip, there's one structure, and then property owner and company isn't in there yet. And we know that so far we have one match there. I have to try that again. All right, so it does work, see? And it'll work like that in every area you're in. So if you get, forget or something, you can always hop on those. And so let's go to our filter, because your filter within Fire Prevention Mobile is the biggest tool you're going to use for most things. And it'll make sense as we, well, I don't know if we are going to be able to use it so much here. Let's tap it open. And so for location, you can filter by the usual things such as address, street, city name, zip, etc. And then if you go down a little bit lower and you toggle open owner, it says owner business name, owner first name and last. Owner is always going to be referring to the property owner, and that's always going to stay tied to the location and structure. And we're going to add some training data so that will make a little more sense. And then beneath that you have other, and that's just complex field. And then beneath that you have grids. And I don't think you guys are using any of these pick lists. Oh, except for station, sorry. I should remember that, except for station. So we refer to these as pick lists, and so it looks like you guys are going to be using these with your different locations. I'm not sure how, or sorry, station. So I guess probably if the location, you're going to match the location to the station to make scheduling and stuff a little bit easier, probably. And so one thing with the filters here is that they do tend to stick. So anytime you do a search, you want to clear it and find it. And that will bring up the whatever you're looking for. Sorry, I'm a little thrown off because I don't usually train in basic here, so it's a little bit different. So let's take a look at this location here that someone's already entered. We're going to go to the pencil icon there and tap on it. And everything in Fire Prevention Mobile is kind of left to right? And it's based on tabs and filters. And so at the top here, you can see location is grayed. So that means we're looking at location information beneath it. And so we've got our address information here. We have the ability to add a complex, and then down below, you can choose your station here with that little pick list. And then you have some other fields for information. And then down at the very bottom, you have these fields for property owner. And when we create some training data, we'll use them a little bit. And then if you go from left to right, now you're looking at the top level of the structures of the structure. In this case, there's one structure. So we can see that there's one structure here. Doesn't have a name because it doesn't need a name. It's just one structure. If we had our stories above and below, that would show here. If you just put it in, it'll always default to 1. And then we can see that inside that structure, there's actually one active occupant. And if there were any files, it would show here and then the date uploaded. And so we're just looking at the top level of the structure now. So if we go to the pencil icon and we drill down further, this entire tab is going to contain structure information. So the first part is a repeat from the address as well as the grid data. But now if you scroll down, you see we have structure. So we have these new fields here. So this is where you can put in a structure name. You can identify the type of structure it is with the different pick lists, as well as building status. And then we have one of these red bold texts here for the NFIRS mixed use property code. And that's a required field, but it will automatically default to not mixed use when you create a new location. And so you can always update that as you go along. And we've got a field here for square footage. And the important thing to remember is anytime you have to look, so we're under structure, it says at the top. And so if I put in the square footage here, it's square footage for the structure. Occupant will have its own data when we get to it. And then we've got stories 1 and 0. Again, it just defaults to that when you create a new location if you don't change it. Then you have fields here for building length, width, and height. And then you have a little date built box here where you can use the calendar. And in the calendar, you can, obviously it's not going to be built today, but you can scroll through by month. And then you can also go the second little arrow there. Toggle it twice, and then you can go by year further back. Oops. Oh, I guess you can't go that far back in here. So let's see. That's interesting. So, or you can always just write it in. Sorry, I don't know, my computer's a little bit weird right now. So you can type it in with the slashes and dashes if you guys are filling that stuff out. And excuse me, and then you have another pick list here for construction type, and then you have one for roof type, roof material type, roof construction type, and then you have your box here for lockbox. And so when you check the lockbox under structure, it's referring to the structure lockbox, and then you have a field here to put in the location of the structure lockbox. Detection type here, so you can choose any of the above here for the detection type. And then down below that, you have your suppression systems to choose from. And then you have a bunch of free text fields underneath that for different things, your suppression system comments. So if maybe at that structure, there were 2 different ones, you can hold shift here and you can select both. Whoop, I don't want all of them. You could select 2 or control or all, and then you could write more specifics about it if you wanted to indicate there which one it is. And then down beneath that, you've got your FACP, fire pump, FDC, all that good stuff, nearest hydrant, panel notes and everything, and then directions to the structure. You would use this directions to the structure, for example, if there was a location that had multiple structures, maybe the buildings aren't they don't have any markings on them, which of course happens all the time. And so you can put down directions in here to get to the structure, indicating it, or if it was a structure that was particularly, didn't have a parking space or something like that available, you could put that in there. And then you have a free text box here for any type of notes pertaining to the structure. And then beneath that, this owner field carries over from location. So it's the same thing. It's just carried over and stays attached to the structure as well. Any questions on the structure fields so far?
No questions for me at this time.
Okay. Yeah, and so what we're doing is we're kind of drilling down. So we started at location, and then we went to location information, we went to structure, and then we just looked at structure information. And so now we're going to drill down all the way to the occupants at structure. And when I do that, I see at a glance here that there is one structure here, and it's called the public safety building. Got some general information here across the top, etc. And then if I want to see more information about that occupant, I would go into the little pencil icon again. And it's going to open up these 4 tabs here. And so occupants have the most fields in them. So because that's where the actual inspection would happen at. And also the occupant filter has the most fields because the filters match the content, right? Because the occupant has lots more fields in it. So the filter for the occupant section will also have more fields in it. And so you can see that the occupant name is a required field there. We've got our address. You could use suite. And then the system will usually default to commercial, but then you can always update it for the property use type there. And then here's that button for a building shell. If you're only inspecting the common areas of that occupant, you would check that. And then down beneath that, you have some similar fields from structure, like square footage. So this would be the square footage only of the occupant. And then down here, occupant number, that's only if you're using these different numbers here, which you're probably not. And then you have another required field here, which is your property use type. And we can see that 150 public or government other has already been selected here within this little pick list. You have other options to define it, but I'm not sure you guys are going to be going that route, so I'm not going to go over them. And then you have information or a box here for a lockbox, and this would be if the occupant had its own lockbox. It's important to remember to pay attention to what areas you're under and you're updating. So we're under occupant, so I would only check it if the occupant had a lockbox of its own. And the same thing with the suppression system. So, the suppression systems that cover the structure, of course, are covering the occupant, but maybe you might have an occupant who has brought their own hood system, right? A restaurant. And so if it has its own system and then they leave and take it with them, you would choose it within here. So it's particularly attached to that occupant only. And then beneath that, you've got more free text fields for suppression system comments, FACP, AEDs, hazardous conditions, etc., hazmat conditions, and then you've got more notes and important information there. So that's your first tab within occupants, and then the second tab within, I didn't really change anything, but sure, okay. The system will also give you a little bit of help, so you don't need to go click back and forth and try to find stuff. It'll present like a little wizard saying, well, where do you want to go next? So you don't have to continually keep navigating back and forth. So we looked at occupant, and I was going over to contacts. And under the contact section, so we're under occupant, this is where you would add any business contacts. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to do that with the next steps that we do. So I won't go too much into it. Then your next tab over here is where you would add any hazardous material, and we'll do that as well. And then the last tab here is for files. And so both the structure level and both the occupant and the occupant, you can upload files to it. And it JPEGs, PDFs, and GIFs. But if you wanted to say upload like a sprinkler plan or something like that, you would do it kind of like would do with different apps you use for photos and stuff like that. You hit new. It always has this download to pre-plans mobile button checked off, and then you choose your file. You could deselect that if you didn't want it to go to it. And then you'd find your file. Let's see. Yep, that's not what I meant to do. Let's find some permit stuff. No, let's do. There we go. Okay, so maybe you want to upload a sprinkler plan. So you upload it, and then you put in the caption there, and then you save it. And so then it can be accessed anytime. Someone could come in and open it like that. The same thing with pre-plans. If it's in, when it's in pre-plans, they can access it by clicking on it. You can upload 4 at a time over here, same way. And that's the max. And there's, I think, a 10 gigabyte max on the size for it. And of course, you could print it as well, but and so on. And so if you want to edit it, you would edit it, highlight it, edit it. And then if you want to delete it, which I will because this is a real location, you just go ahead and delete it. And so that's our occupant information. Any question on any of these tabs above here?
No, thank you.
None from me at this time. Thank you.
Okay. Yep. And so do you guys only have an hour today, or do you have a little bit longer?
Just
I'm
speaking
here
for
for
me,
the
I mean,
duration.
I can certainly be available for a longer duration, and obviously, the more you cover, the more is available for everyone, who couldn't be here today.
Right. Gotcha. I'm sorry. And you were saying? Oh,
I'm here for the long haul.
okay, all right, awesome. Okay, so we're under location and location data. And then let's go back to the top menu here and go back to occupancy. And then this time, let's go to structure data. And it's kind of nice actually that you just have the one in there now because we can really look at it. So if we go to structure data, we have a slightly different filter now as you build up more, more data in there. You can begin to filter by metrics. Owner is the same. You can always filter by property owner. And then under other identifiers, you can start to filter by structure name, complex name, and some other features. And so going in here, that same location, except now we're going right into the structure level. So if we hit the little pencil icon to the left there, it takes us right to that structure tab. And so it's same information, but it's just starting at the structure level, because again, you might have multiple structures at a location. You might want to just jump to that and so on. And if we keep going to the right, we see that same occupant. And then here's that tab I talked about that the occupant has, so you could upload files to the structure. So if it's something is specific to the structure, not the occupant, then you can upload them and save them there. And so to X out, we're going to hit the little X in the upper right hand corner there. And then let's go ahead and take a look at occupancy data, and let's go down to occupant data. Let me know when you're there.
There.
All right, great. I just want to make sure. I told my son I wasn't picking up from football to get a ride, but who knows if he paid any attention to anything I said. So we've got occupants now, tells us we're looking at the occupant, and we see that public safety building is our occupant here, and down at the bottom you've got a little scroll. So you can say information at a glance about the occupant, just kind of top level stuff if you wanted to know it. And then let's go ahead into the little pencil icon here and drill down to see what we've got in the occupant level again. And so now we're at the same exact place that we were a couple minutes ago, except we came into it straight from the occupancy data screen. So you can access things a little bit faster. So I won't go over all these tabs again because we're going to create some data. And I just want to kind of drive home that when you are creating your occupants and locations, you can only have one location. You want to keep your structures in it inside that location, as well as your occupants. And so a lot of people struggle with this because they're used to doing one location, one occupant, a 1-to-1 ratio. So it doesn't account for the structure, right? And so if, you'll have a lot of occupants with the same address in there. And so that's, it's not accurate, right, in the first place. And it doesn't account for all those, all the information that is in with the structure either. Any questions on anything we did so far?
No, thank you.
Okie dokie. And I will mention too, while we're in this screen here, so occupant as well as structure, you can export your data down at the bottom here. So it's with the contacts, without the contacts. And when you're exporting it, it's the fields inside of here. So it's all the fields. It's not just like one line. It'll be all the different levels, all the different information within the occupant. So that being said, let's go ahead and we're going to add our own location, structures, and occupants, because I think that's probably the best way to really learn the system. So let's pretend we came in from the home screen here and you want to add a new location and structure and occupant. You're going to go to top menu, you're going to go to occupancy data, and then you're going to tap on location data. And that takes us back here. So we know we can see our locations. And then down at the bottom here, there's a big blue button that says add location / structure. So we're going to tap on that. And then we're all going to use the address of 99999. And then you're going to, for the street, you're going to put in your last name. And then for the street type, you can pick anything from the pick list there. If you're a fast typer, you can probably get it in. But it has all the entire and first ones listed here. Or you can scroll through it and find the right one. And then I guess, so you guys cover a lot of cities, huh? Or towns. Is that right?
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay, so So then we'll just keep it at Prince Frederick for now. And then that probably also means you've got a bunch of zip codes in here as well. So we choose the appropriate zip. For this one, we're not going to create a complex, and I don't want to touch your station stuff, but if you wanted to, you could assign it a station. And then if you keep scrolling down towards the bottom here, or the middle part, you see the area for structure. And so this structure doesn't have a name because it's going to be one of those generic big buildings that has a Walmart and a Starbucks in it. So we can go ahead and leave that blank. And then we can update these different fields later. Let's go ahead to the stories above and stories below. Let's say that there's one story above and one story below for the Walmart structure, or the structure that houses the Walmart. And then let's say that the structure square footage is 22,000 square feet as well. And then you've got these other fields here. And let's actually, can you scroll back up? Oh no, we didn't add it yet. Sorry. Never mind. So just keep going there. I don't know if it's being recorded or if it's just Friday. It's been a long week. So we got our structure information there, and then we're going to go to the bottom where we have the property owner. And we're going to say the business name of the property owner is going to be your last name. And then you'll say Properties LLC. That's all we're going to put in there for now. And then we'll go ahead and save our structure. And then you get this kind of little wizard here. It asks you, what do you want to do next? Do you want to add another structure, update it? We're going to add the occupant to the structure. And so this is we're going to add our Walmart. So all of our occupant will just say they're all Walmart. And then let's say the Walmart's in Suite 1. And then beneath that, you have a little pick list here to decide if it's commercial or residential or both. We'll say it's commercial. And then scrolling down here, we have some more information. We're going to just go all the way down to this property use type here, since it's the only required field right now. And we're going to say that this property use type is 581. And so it's another pick list. If you're a fast typer, you can get it in there, or you can scroll through it and choose it. And then if you guys use IFC, you would do the same there. And I don't think you're using the risk class. And so that's all we're going to add right now for the, yeah. So well, do you know if you use the IFC class? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
Okay.
Neither am I, but I can certainly, see what I can find on my end about it.
Yeah, so if you do, then that's where you would choose it. A lot of departments use these different standardization classes and stuff like that from NFIRS for reporting. So if you guys do wind up, if you find out you have to use it, you would just choose the right IFC class there. And
we do use those. I'm sorry. We do refer. Yeah, we refer to them as NIPR codes. So yes, we do use those.
Gotcha. Okay. So let's go ahead and put in the M there for the merchant or mercantile. The IFC classes, occupancy class, it'll give you a definition down here. So if you're not sure which one you need, you can switch them easily and see. Whereas the property use code, you have to either have a reference or know some of those. But they're mostly pretty self-explanatory as well. And so we just put in our Walmart name, we selected commercial, we put in the suite number, we selected our property use type and then our IFC class, and that's all we're going to add for this. So we're going to go ahead and save it. And then you can go ahead and X out. And so now it can see that, is there 1, 2, oh, I can't count. Yeah, excellent. So we can see that all of our locations are in there. And then if we go to drill down, I'll just take a look. I'll see the structure.
Need to add my apologies. I was working on it.
Oh.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. I just want to make sure you got it. You don't have to do anything.
I'm catching up too a little bit here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going too fast. I apologize.
No, it's okay.
I kind of looked at the outline. And like I said, I've never done it before, and I was looking at going, okay, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this in an hour. Like, well, so I have been going fast. I apologize.
It's okay.
Oh.
As long as we can refer back to the recording, that's okay.
Okay. Well, I prefer you get it the first time so you don't have to go back, like you guys at least. No. So, but we'll get it. So let me know when you guys have both of those done. I did go super fast. Okay, so you're just going to add your location. So you're probably already in there now, and I just need to be patient. Right?
Yes, apologies on
Yeah,
mine.
I'm in
I
there.
was using yours as a reference for mine, just so I could edit it as needed.
Yeah, no worries. Take your time. And if you need help, please let me know. Like if you jumped out and then you need to go back in. I found it easier to learn. It was a big learning curve for me. So I found it easier to always start at the location than go down. Because going up is a little bit different until you really know the system. So you could go to occupants or structure and add the occupants too, but I kind of like to make sure I've got it right. So I tend to drill down a little bit into it.
I think I did it.
Okay. Trying to see where you guys are located. All right, looks good to me.
The only part I got kind of lost on was where you guys have the property owner. I can't find that.
Yeah, sure. So if you're still in locations, then you go to find your location and you open up the little pencil icon, and it's always going to be at the very bottom here where it says owner. And then we just put in the business name, our last name, Properties LLC.
Okay.
And so it looks like someone was started adding information here. And that's good. I think the big thing too is if you're going to use it, if you're going to be the ones using it, is to get in there, and use it. You really can't break it or screw anything up. You can always delete things and stuff like that. So it's pretty foolproof. And then let me know when you're ready, Catherine. Are you able to get your property owner in there? There you go. Awesome.
Yes, I'm just waiting for it to
Yeah.
save, I guess.
Okay, no, it's there. Sometimes you have to refresh your screen to after you save something to make sure you see it, but usually if it's just a direct save, you don't have to. Okay, fantastic. And so I'm just going to pull up my outline here so you guys can see what we're going to do next. And so we just created overview. We just created a location of 99999. And then we said it was 22,000 square feet. We put ourselves in as the property owner. And then we saved it and we added an occupant to the structure, and the occupant is a Walmart. And then we filled out our required fields here. And so next we're going to go ahead and we're going to add another location. This one's going to be 99998. Same thing, your last name, street. Except this time we're going to give this structure a name, and we're going to call it the Washington Building. And this is going to have 1 story above, 0 below. And we're going to do the same thing in the location owner business name. We're going to put in our last name, Properties LLC. And then we're going to save it. And then we're going to add an occupant to it. And it's going to be your first name, hyphens deli, like Tom's Deli. And then we'll fill out the commercial property use type and then the IFC class as well. And so going to go to the lower right hand corner here. We're going to add this location and structure. And this one will be 99998.
Are we all creating this one, or is this
Yes,
is this
please.
step just you? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't mind.
No problem.
I think it's better. That way you're getting in there and everything. And so this will be 99998, same deal there. And then as you scroll down, once you get the address into the structure area, and there's a box here with the structure name. This is where we're going to put in that this is the Washington building. And let me know when you're there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. And then for this one, we're going to say that this is 1 story above, 1 story below. We're going to skip the square footage. And then we're going to go to the bottom here and put in the property owner business name again. And same thing, it'll be your last name, Properties LLC. And then we'll go ahead and save that and let me know when you're there.
Yep, property's created.
Okay. And then we're going to add an occupant to that structure. And then this occupant is going to be just your first name. Oops. Deli. And this one doesn't have a suite or anything, but we want to select that it's a commercial property. And then we're going to go down to our property use type, and it's going to be not 141, 161, sorry, for a restaurant or cafeteria. And then our IFC class is going to be A2 for an assembly for food or drink. And then that's all we're going to add right now for that occupant. So we'll go ahead and save it. And then we're done with that one. We can exit out. There we go. Looks good. And so for each one of these examples, they're basically have different variations in them. Hence the point of doing them. So for the next one, we're going to create an apartment complex. And that address is going to be 99997. And we're going to create a complex name and a pick list, and we're going to give the structure a name, building A, because we're also going to create a building B. And so it'll be 2 stories above, 1 below. Same thing with the business owner. It's going to be our last name, Properties LLC. And then we're going to add the occupant, and we're going to call it your last name, Apartment Buildings A. And we're going to check the building shell checkbox there to indicate that you're only inspecting the common areas of that particular occupant. And we'll put in our residential, our property use type, as well as our occupancy. And then we'll go ahead and we'll create a second structure as well and do the same thing with that one. So we're going to go down at our location. This one's going to be 99997. Our last name. Street, avenue, whatever you want to use. And then for complexes, it's a little pick list here. And so if you tap on it, it will show you any complexes already created. Well, right now we don't have any, so we want to make one. You go to the little magnifying glass there, and if you tap on that, it opens up this screen. And then in the lower right-hand corner is a new complex button, new complex name button, excuse me. So you go ahead and press that. And then let's say that this apartment complex is your last name. Apartments, that works for me. And then you're going to hit save and return. And so every time you create a complex in the system, it's going to hold it there. So you can choose it again, or you can create new ones, and eventually, you'll have a bunch of them. And we'll see how this is going to link our 2 occupants and our structures together. And so for grid data, we're not going to put anything in there, but we are going to go down to the structure name, and we are going to say this is building A. So we can differentiate between those two structures. And then let's say that it is 2 stories above and 1 below. Do you guys have basements there?
Sorry, basements where?
Yeah.
Like
Oh, never
where you
mind.
live? Okay.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, not exactly in your build, but yeah. So because I train a lot all over the country, and so most of the country they don't have basements. So, and I always use this example, I'm like, well, we don't have basements in California. We don't have them in Florida, the South, the desert. None of those places have basements, mountains, and stuff like that. So, I was just curious. I would assume you do, but I was just double checking. And so we've got our stories above and our stories below there. So we're going to do the same thing we did. We're going to go all the way down to the bottom there to our property owner business name. And that again is going to be our last name, Properties LLC. And then we'll go ahead and we'll save that first structure. And then let me know when you're here.
Okay.
Yep, okay. So then we'll add our occupant to that structure now. Oops, sorry about that. And then the occupant name for that structure is going to be, what is it going to be, Deborah? It's going to be your last name, apartments, building A. And let's also indicate that this is a building shell and the occupant name too, so you can see that right away. And then we're going to go down and select that this is a residential property. And then beneath that is that little button to designate it as a building shell so that the person knows that you're only inspecting the common areas there. And then we'll scroll down here and we have our different fields. And we're going to address the property use type. And then for a multifamily dwelling, it is 429. And then for our IFC occupancy class, that is going to be R2. For a residential group of permanent housing. And then scrolling down here, I think that is all we're going to add for this one. So we'll go ahead and save that one. And then let me know when you're here at the little wizard thingy.
I'm there.
Okie dokie.
Yeah.
And so we can see we're looking at building A. And we don't want to go back to the structure, the building A. God, I can't talk. And we don't want to go to the occupant. So we're going to go ahead and we don't want the schedule. We're going to go ahead and X out here. And then I know you can see it in here, but let's just practice using the filter here. So go ahead, put in your address of 99997. Of course, that's going to be your last name. And then find your apartment building again. And let me know when you're there.
I'm there.
Okie dokie. Catherine?
Yes, I'm there too.
Okie doke. And so we can see right now there's one structure. So we're going to go and add that second one. You could also go to structure and add it. But again, I kind of like this idea. I like to look from the top down to make sure I got it right because I have screwed up so many times when I first started. So it's kind of my method. So we're going to go to the little pencil icon there. And then we have, of course, our location information. And then if we hit the tab to the right, we can see our building A structure with our one active occupant there. And we're going to go to the lower right-hand corner and we're going to add another structure to this location. If I tap in that, and so it automatically takes us to the structure field. So we can go ahead and say that this is going to be our building B. And then we'll keep all that the same. We'll say that, again, this one also is 2 stories above and then 1 story below. And then scrolling down here, we've already got our property owner in here because it carries over, right? The property owner carries over from the location to the structure. And so we can go ahead and save that. And then we want to add our occupant to that building. So we'll hit add occupant to structure and let me know when you guys are both there.
Oh,
There.
I got lost with building B.
Oh, that's okay. And so which screen are you on? Does it say location at the top?
No, I'm on structures.
Mm-hmm.
And I see my complex and my structure A.
Mm-hmm.
And then I hit the pencil,
Mm-hmm.
but my screen looks different than yours.
Oh, okay, so maybe you're in here. Let's see.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, mine
so
says structure 9997.
oh yeah, so you're maybe in there. So you can at the bottom here, you can hit the little back button or and cancel. And what it does is it goes back one more step, and then it should take you to see where you just have your building A.
So it took me back to the whole structures,
Mm-hmm.
but my screen doesn't look the same as yours.
Okay, at the bottom, is there another back button?
There's an Excel and an add location or structure.
Oh, gotcha. So you're probably on, are you on this screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So then here's your location, and you can hit the little pencil icon, and then we'll drill down into it to the structure. So first tab again is just location. Then second tab is structures at location. And then you should see your building A there.
Structures at location. Yes, I see building A. So now I add a structure.
Yep.
Building B.
Yep. Take your time. And then the NFIRS will keep the same. And then stories above will say 2 and 1 again.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then just to point out, nothing you need to fill out, but at the bottom, just want to point out that that property owner carries over for you, so you don't have to re-enter it.
Okay.
And then go ahead and save your structure.
Okay, I'm there with you.
All righty. And then we're going to add an occupant to the structure.
Oh, nope, I'm lost.
That's okay. It's a lot of the, yeah, I really, believe me, it threw me off for a long time. So in the structure here, so let's go ahead and just go back to where you could see the 2 structures like this, like the overview of it.
Okay.
Yep. And you see your building A has the 1 occupant in it.
Yes.
Yep. And then you've got your building B.
Yes.
Okay. So then we'll go into the little pencil icon there. And then we'll go to the right of it. It says occupants at structure.
Yes.
Yep. And then we're going to go ahead and add our occupant at the bottom there. And just like the other one, this one is going to be your first name, apartments, building B. And this one also is going to be, will indicate that it's a building shell. And then we'll select just our required fields here. This is going to be a residential property. And we are going to check the little button to designate it as a building shell, so that you just inspect those common areas. And then let's go ahead down to property use type. And for apartment building, it's going to be a multifamily dwelling. So we'll select 429. And then our IFC occupancy class is going to be R2 for residential. And then once you got that, that's all we're going to put there. We can go ahead and save it. All right, looks good to me. Awesome. All right, so just gonna do a quick review here so far of what we did. So we created a location 99999, and we said it had 22,000 square feet, one story above, one below. Maybe we didn't do that, but doesn't matter. Then we put in the location owner's business name as our last name properties. Then we added an occupant and we called it the Walmart. We gave it a suite number. We marked it as commercial. We chose a property use type in the IFC class. And then we created another location of 99998. And this time we used that structure field and we put in the structure name as the Washington building, one story above, zero below. And they did the same thing with the property owner. We put in the property owner's business name. And then we added an occupant to that location. And the occupant's name was a deli. And it's our deli. And then we chose, of course, our commercial as well as our property use type in our IFC occupancy class. And then we added a new location of 99997. Same thing with our last name, and this time we created a complex, a name for it, and we chose that one, and our last name, Apartments. And we also gave the structure a name, and that one's Building A, that's 2 stories above and below. And we put in the property owner business name, again, like we did with the other ones. And then we added an occupant inside of that structure, and that occupant is our last name, Apartments, Building A. And we checked the box to designate it's a building shell. That means that you would do an inspection on the common areas there. And then we selected that it's a residential property, and then the property use type is 429 for a multifamily dwelling, and R2 is the occupancy. And then we went back to the location, we edited the location, and then we added a second structure. We added our Building B. Building B, same thing, 2 stories above, 1 below. We added an occupant to the structure, and it's the same thing we did with the other one. It's our last name, Apartments, Building B. We designated that one also as a building shell, and that one is a commercial property, and then we chose our property use type as well as IFC class. Any questions on any of that, what we did so far?
No questions for me at this time.
Okay. How about you, Catherine? Are you still there, Catherine? Everything good? Maybe she's on a call. Okay, so then I'll keep moving on here. Next, we're going to go ahead, find that location that has a Walmart, and we're going to add a Starbucks to it. And so we're already in locations. So you're going to go to your filter here. And even though I know we could just find it here, let's just practice because it needs to kind of become a habit. You're going to clear your filter and you're going to find the address of 99999, your last name as the street. And then let me know when you have it. Oh, she must have got kicked out. Or dropped out or something. Hey, did you get kicked out?
I did. I'm sorry. My internet's
no.
a little wonky.
That's okay. Yeah, no, I was training someone today in Arizona and all the internet was off at the fire department, so don't worry about it. Okay, so
If it happens again, please just go ahead
keep
and
going. Okay,
move forward. Don't wait on me.
no problem. So what we did is that we are going into location data, and then you're going to use your filter there to filter for the address or the location that has the Walmart, and that's 99999, your last name for the street. And you may need to clear it if you've used it previously. If not, you can go ahead and hit find and then let me know when you found that location.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to go into the little pencil icon here. We've got our location tab first, and then we're going to go to the right to our structures at location. And then we're going to keep drilling down into that one structure by hitting the pencil icon and tapping on that. And now we've got structure information, and we're going to keep drilling down further to where it says occupants at structure. And then you should see your Walmart there under occupants at structure. Let me know when you're there.
I'm there.
All right. And so we see your Walmart there, and we want to add another occupant to this address. And so we're going to go to the lower right-hand side, and we're going to hit add occupant. And then this is going to be our Starbucks that's in that same structure there. And so our Starbucks is going to be in suite 2 because we said our Walmart was in suite 1. And then we're going to say that it is a commercial property, of course. And we're just going to go to the property use type here. And that's going to be 519 for a food and beverage sales grocery store. And the next one is going to be our IFC occupancy class is going to be M for mercantile. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to save that one. And since we're done with that, we can go ahead and X out. And so we just added another occupant to our 99999 location. Any questions?
Nope, should be good. Thank you.
All right, fantastic. And so while we're at our Walmart here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to update the property owner information. So we're going to go back into, if you still have your Walmart location, go into the little pencil icon. If not, you can go ahead and filter for it and find it. And let me know when you're there.
I'm there.
Okie dokie. And then we're going to go down to the property owner. And we already put in the property owner's business name. This time, let's go ahead and put in first and last name. And you can just go ahead and make it up. It doesn't matter what it is. And then let's practice also putting in a phone number there. You can just make one up as well. And then we're going to go ahead and save it. And let me know when you're done. Good. Okay.
Done.
Great. So we can X that out. And then next we want to update the business contact information for the deli. So we're going to get out of searching in locations because that will take longer. We're going to go to our top menu, occupancy data, and then down to occupant data. And then let me know when you're there.
I'm there.
Okay. And so then we're going to go ahead, we're going to go to our filter and then, excuse me, sorry. I was sick like 2 weeks ago and I feel like it's spontaneously still coming back. So we're going to make sure that we clear it because they stick. And then we want to find our deli. So we can filter, do by address, 99997, your last name. I think it's 6 actually, sorry. Or you can go ahead and search for your name here for the deli. That'll be faster. And then let me know once you found your deli.
Found mine.
Okie dokie.
I'm good.
All righty. So we're going to go into the deli occupant by hitting the little pencil icon on the left there. And that takes us to our pre-planned tabs here. And we're going to go to the second tab that says contacts. And this is where you would add any business contacts. So we're going to go ahead and add a main business contact now. Then we're going to go lower right-hand corner and hit new contact. And that will open up this little box here. And let me know when you're there.
I'm there.
Okie dokie. And so before we start flushing some of this out, I want to point out right here this contact type. And it's got a little pick list here. So I want but all of us to go ahead and choose main business contact here. And the reason for that and to get it into your muscle memory is you should have at least one contact that you're going to have on the inspection report header. And the only way to make sure that contact goes into the top of the report is to select main business contact. And so we want to do that first with at least one of the business contacts. And then we'll go ahead and fill out the other fields there. So title is, the usual Miss, Mrs., Doctor, all that business. Excuse me, and then go ahead and put in a first name here and make up a last name. Oops. And then this business name field. So Fire Prevention Mobile is designed to add as many contacts as you would like. Or need, and update them as often as possible. So you're keeping good records. And so this business name field would be if maybe at the deli, there's a security company and that you want to add as just a contact. So you could put in their business name and information, the rest of it, et cetera. So it's just an exterior company away from this one. That you might want to indicate, also has access or something like that. So we're going to skip it because we're just going to add like just the manager this time. So we'll go back under contact type. Beneath that, there's a little free text box that says role job description. Well, and let's say that this person is going to be the manager and maybe the main key holder. And then beneath that, we have phone numbers, and you can see when you add a business contact, that phone number is a required field. So go ahead and select, put in the phone number there. Then you have other fields as well. And then down beneath that, you have a box there for an email address. And you have a little checkbox here for emailing the report. So once an inspection happens and it's committed in the back office, you can have the inspection report emailed out directly to the contact. Well, you should do that, right? It's easy. So we're going to check that box here for the email report. And then we're going to go to the top there and go ahead and just put yourself in as the person to get the report there. So then you can go ahead and you can see what that's going to look like. If you do an inspection, and then we're going to scroll down here and you see that you have these address fields. And that would be if this contact was maybe at a different location, like a corporate office or something like that. So we don't need it there. So we're going to go ahead and save it. And now you can see at a glance your business contacts, if they have an email address, phone number, if they've been selected to go ahead and get the inspection report. So that's adding a business contact. Any questions?
What is unsubscribed?
So if it's more kind of an internal thing, I guess not, but so when the inspection report email goes out to them, if that person says that they want to unsubscribe to emails from this no reply, it will indicate it here. And then you can reach out to them to tell them that, well, hey, that's how you're getting your report. So please don't unsubscribe because you won't get it. Yeah. Yeah. Good question though. And so we just added a main business contact here for our deli. Any questions on anything so far?
No, thank you.
No? Okay. I know we've been going for an hour and a half. So Ryan, I'm mad at him now because he's like, oh, this will take an hour. And I'm just looking now. It's definitely way more that you can't cover basic in an hour. So I'm going to give you a quick little, a more condensed version, but it's not possible in an hour. So I apologize. I don't know what I was thinking. Because like I said, I've never done one. So he's like, oh, you do it in an hour. So I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, no, really can't. So next we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to the scheduled screen. So go ahead and X out of that. And then let's go ahead and see if someone was here to tell me though, if you guys are going to be doing inspections or if you're just using it to collect pre-plan information.
It would likely be more of a pre-plan situation, but some of the departments, since they're their own corporation, they're their own businesses, they ultimately have the discretion as to whether or not they want to conduct inspections. So we want to have it available for them.
I gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So we put in our several different locations with occupants and structure information, all that stuff. So next we want to go ahead and we want to schedule an inspection or start an inspection. And so let me just check something real quick here. Do you guys need to take a quick break? I want to make sure. Okay, yeah. So all of your inspections will be on demand. Actually, we can go through. Can we go a little bit longer?
Yeah, whatever time you have available.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure. And so we can go ahead right into this conduct inspections here. Oh, no, we can't because there's no forecasting. I lied to you. Go to the manage inspection schedule here. And let me know when you're there.
There.
Okay, and so on the left, you have scheduling tools. So things that are on the schedule are going to show up here. Right now, we don't have anything on the schedule, and you guys aren't doing recurring inspections. So this right now is blank, and we're going to go over to this on demand. And on the on demand side, you can schedule any type of inspection of your inspections. So you can see it's got the same qualities here. You've got a filter, you've got names, and then we can see that there's 16 occupants in here that you could potentially schedule something for. So let's go ahead and each find our own Walmart, and we'll just do that one. Let me know when you found yours.
Yep, I'm good.
Me too.
Okay, so go ahead and check the box next to Walmart, and then on the right-hand lower side there, it says add to schedule. So you're going to tap on that. And then this screen has the information for what you're going to, how you're going to schedule it and what type of inspection it's going to be. And so the top one is a little calendar. And so let's just go ahead in the calendar. You can always go to today and choose that, and it'll drop it in. And then let's say that this inspection type is a pre-planned survey. And then beneath there, you go ahead and you choose yourself as the inspector. And so I don't see in there's an inspector, either one of you guys. So you could just choose this one of the stations. And that's fine, because I'll have this deleted when we're done anyways. And so then we're going to go ahead and add it to the schedule in the lower right-hand corner. And then it tells us that it's been scheduled, and we can go ahead and close that window. Let me know when you're there.
There.
Okay.
Sure.
And so next we're going to go to the scheduling tools again, and now we should be able to see all of our inspections that are scheduled there. So we can see the date, what type of inspection, and then who it's been assigned to. And so next we're going to go ahead and I think we'll just do an inspection on it. That makes sense, right? Yeah. So can we take a quick 10-minute break before we do that? Okay, so I'm gonna keep the recording going, but I'm just gonna turn my camera off 5-10 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and do an inspection, please.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
All right, thanks. Sorry about that. Needed a few minutes to check in with my son. And so, you guys there?
Yep, I'm here.
All right.
Me too.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do an inspection back here. And so back from your home screen, there's a little box here that says conduct inspections there, a little hotkey, and we're going to select that. And then you should see our 3 things that we have scheduled. You see the matches on the right-hand side, and then each one of them, you also have a filter. And so go ahead and find your actual inspection, or your Walmart on your street, I should say. And hit the little start button there. And it has you choose your inspector again, so you can choose me or one of the other ones, doesn't matter. And then you go ahead and hit start. Let me know when you're there.
I'm there.
I'm good.
And so it's going to take us right to location. And so we're pretty much seeing all the same fields that we saw earlier under location. They're just laid out a little bit differently. So you can update any of these fields here. You can add a complex and so on. We're going to leave those alone right now. And if you scroll down, then you have your structure information. We know this structure doesn't have a name, so we're not going to bother putting in a name there. We have some pick lists here for the structure type. And so let's say that the Walmart is a enclosed building here. And then the next one is the building status. Let's say that it is occupied and operating. And then we already put in some information there. And so we're going to leave all that. And then we're going to go down to where it says lockbox. And we're going to say that it has a lockbox, the structure does. And we're going to put in our location as the lockbox structure location is going to be on the B side. And then scrolling down here, let's go to our detection type, and let's say this has more than one type present. And then under extinguisher system type, let's say that there is a dry pipe sprinkler. And then if you hold down your control button, you can also choose the wet pipe sprinkler system. And then let's say that the comment here for the extinguisher comment could be that the dry covers the warehouse. And then we'll keep scrolling down here, and that's all we're going to fill in for right now. So we can go ahead and save it on the lower right hand side. And so we just updated, our structure information there. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do our inspection on the occupant, or update the occupant field. Sorry, it's a pre-plan. So we again are seeing all those fields here. We said that the Walmart takes up 22,000 square feet. So let's go ahead and say that the structure is 22,000 square feet. Let's go ahead and say that the Walmart only takes up 20,000 square feet of it. And then we already filled out some of this stuff here. It doesn't have its own extinguisher system, but of course you could update any of these fields here. Let's say that there are 2 AEDs at the Walmart. And then we can go ahead and scroll down here. And then that's all we're going to update here. So we're going to go ahead and save it. And then it automatically takes us kind of left to right again to contacts here. And we have our property owner in here, but we don't have a main business contact. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to say new, and we're going to make up another person's name here and put that in for the business contact. And we're going to choose that they are the main business contact and that little pick list there. And then we'll put in your email address here. and check that box that says email report. And then we're going to also put in a role and say they're the general manager. And then go ahead, you'll have to make up a phone number as well because it's a required field. Then we'll go ahead and save that. And then this next tab here is where you would add any hazardous material. And so we're not going to do that, but you go to the new button and then you search for it and then you add it in there. It's pretty straightforward. It asks you about the quantity and stuff. And then we're going to keep going left to right here. And oh, there's no checklist there. So I think that's it for it. And so let me know when you guys are done. There is no check, so that button doesn't work there because you don't have any checklist items. So it finishes the inspection for you.
Yep, I'm there.
Okie dokie. All right, and so then here it says awaiting commit of the inspection. And so there's 2 steps in the inspection process. So you do the inspection and then you finish it and then you have to also finalize it. The reason for that is you can also do these inspections in the multi-platform app, which you can download if you're using a tablet or an iPad from the Apple Store or the Microsoft Store. And both of them, you do the inspection. The app is definitely probably more user-friendly than this is. It looks a little bit nicer. It's really easy. You can do it either way. It's kind of the same concept. But when you finish the inspection, either one of them, you still have to do this final step of committing it. So we're going to go to the little top menu here and then back to our home menu. Excuse me. And you can see where it says commit inspections. There's 3. So it means that there's 3 inspections waiting to be finalized there. So we're going to tap on that commit inspections area, and then that takes us to this screen. And it gives you some definitions on the left-hand side there, in case you forget. And over here to the right, you can hit search, and that will show all the inspections waiting to be committed. Or you can hit search, and then you can filter for just one inspector or one station there. Excuse me. And for us, we're just gonna each go ahead and filter for what we could look at all of them. Actually, that's fine. And then go ahead and pick the inspection that you did. So I don't know which one I did. Oh no, it doesn't really matter. So we'll each just take one. I'll take the bottom one. So to commit the inspection, you hit a little checkbox over there, and then you go to the lower right hand side and you hit commit. And when that happens, it's going to take you to this activity monitor. It'll let you know when it's done processing. And so that means that your inspection has been committed and finalized. And now if you go to your email, you can go ahead and see what that's going to look like when that comes in. So they're going to get a report if you have someone getting it. Of course, it says an email says from inspector no reply, fire prevention mobile. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. That's my login. Yeah, who shouldn't work on Friday nights? Definitely me. You should get the email, so it should be coming through there. Let's see. It's usually in pretty fast real time. That happens. Did you guys get an email report there?
I have not gotten one.
Not yet for me either.
Okay. So I wonder, sometimes you might have a firewall at your station, but I don't know why I didn't get mine. Unless Basic doesn't include that and I don't know what I'm doing. And why would you let me put it in there if you're not going to send it out? I don't know. It's weird they would have it there if you can't send it out, right? Why have it then? Why just tease people? So let's see. But maybe those are going to come through. It does usually come through in real time for me. So, I'm not sure about that. But that's how you do an inspection in the back here, a pre-plan survey. You can also download the app, and there's a really good video for that under the top menu. Under videos for inspectors, this one here, it's 44 minutes, but you probably won't need the whole thing. You probably just need like half an hour of it. That will walk through how you do the same thing within the actual within the app. Sorry. So, and any questions on that?
Thank you.
Okay. And so let's go ahead and go back to our home screen here. And so we've done we put information in, we scheduled an inspection, then we did an inspection, we committed it. And so once inspections are completed, they're going to go into this search and edit inspections box. And so we're going to go ahead and tap on that. And so all of your completed inspections will always be in here. And oh yeah, so it says NA, so it doesn't send it out. Well, that's stupid. I'm going to make a note about that for the developers of request that why put it there if it doesn't go anywhere, right? Like take it off take it off then. Yeah, sorry about that. I'll see if they can easily just take that off so that's not confusing. And so we have our inspections that are completed. Up at the top, we can see some general information about it, and it's done. And then you can go ahead and hit the magnifying glass in any of them, and you can see a little bit of information about it, not too much really. Email tracking doesn't work, but you can at least get the date that it was done. And you can also get that from the top here as well, and then who it was done by also. And so that's looking at your inspections that have been completed. And I'm just going to double check you guys about the email thing because the outline that was left to me by the owner says it does do it, but I'm not sure. We don't turn it on or, I don't know, that's a bit weird. So that's how you see any inspections that you've completed. Any questions?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, okay. And so there's a little dashboard in the system that allows you to see what's going on at a glance with the software. It's not on the home screen. It's under the top menu, under inspection tools, and then dashboard. And if you tap on that, it'll take you to this screen. And right now we don't have a lot of inspections in there, so it's kind of blank. But this top one here is going to be your inspection volume. So as you guys start using the software, you can come back to this and see, okay, has it been worth our money? It's been 12 months. How much have we used it, etc. It'll tell you the average and then how many have been done each month. And then when things are scheduled, that number will appear here. And then there's also a little calendar here that you could look for scheduled inspections as well. It's kind of more of a little at a glance place. And then there is another tool that you can use as well that can be useful. If you go to that top menu and you go down to fire reports, this is where you can run different reports. So if you have to run reports in a month or every 6 months or yearly, just to show what you've been doing. This first batch here is inspection reports. And the little help menu has a bunch of descriptions of them and how you can create them and what's in them. I'm going to just show you the most common one, and that's this inspection volume. And it's already kind of selected there. And then down beneath it, you have a bunch of filters. And with the filters for reporting, I'd say that less is always more. So I wouldn't put too much in. We'll keep this date here. And then in the lower right-hand side, you can go ahead and tap on review or view report, excuse me. And so that'll break down the inspections done by each inspector. It'll give you the total. It also adds the square footage. Since you're not citing violations, there's nothing in there. But it's a good place to go ahead and look and see how much you've covered. You can use it for reporting purposes, etc. And then if you hit the little back button there, You have the number of occupants inspected. That's just a pretty straight number. It's just going to give you the total within that time period. And then I think for you guys, probably not going to be doing hazardous stuff. Inspection summary.
Well, we actually live by a nuclear power plant and a gas power plant, so
Okay.
it wouldn't
So
be unusual to
add the material.
have a hazmat situation.
Okay. And so you would add the materials during your pre-plan? Do you think?
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
probably.
Okay. So then if when you after you start adding hazardous materials, you can run a report here for your occupants that have those hazardous material. We didn't put any in, so it won't show up, but okay, that's a good point. Then which other ones? I don't think you'll need too many of those other ones. The occupant reports are pretty straightforward, duplicate. These other ones, you don't need to worry about it. They've already been set in the background in the back office there. And so let's see, let me just do a little review here. Are there any questions about anything so far, or anything we've done? I know I kind of not my best training because it's been a long
No,
week.
it was great. I really can appreciate the hands-on and your patience with me. So I appreciate
Oh
that.
yeah, of course. Yeah, no problem. And so we can leave that training data in there and you guys can play with it, or anybody can if you want to, or I can have our support team remove it. And you can start from, it'll be out of there. Do you guys have a preference?
Um,
Is it if it was something where
let's
we
go ahead
decided
and
we
leave
wouldn't?
it for
Oh,
now.
Oh, go ahead. Okay. Yeah, and so then just shoot me an email when you want me to get rid of it.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and you won't have to add new stuff to play with, and you guys could, you could do anything with it. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all I cover, or what I wanted to cover. And don't forget you have that little video learning library there. And if you do wind up going to use the multi-platform app, it looks very different and it's actually much easier to use and it's much more intuitive. There's the video on that is pretty good. And then if you have any questions on any of that stuff, you can always reach out and give us a call, or you could email if it's like not a super important question. And I think that's all I got for you.
Brian, did you have any questions regarding anything from TS's side?
So for me, from my perspective at the moment, I don't have any questions. However, this is certainly something I'm going to be speaking about with my colleagues once they get back. Now, my question that I have for the moment that I, just
Yeah.
want to make sure I ask now while we're in the meeting is, and this could just be, my lack of knowledge just because I haven't necessarily been taking the lead on this project up until now, but what were going to be the next steps post this meeting? Had that already been discussed, or was this meeting meant to serve as kind of like a more detailed introduction, and then now it's more internal work? Well, was there another meeting we got to get on the books is basically what I was wanting to ask.
Yeah. No, so the basic version that you guys have, so you're not there's a bunch of other stuff that the system does. You have the basic version, and usually we don't do training for it. We just have you watch videos. But you guys, someone had requested to do a training on it, and I get it. It makes sense because we don't actually have one video that's just for basic, which I will work on. Not, and I see how long it's going to be. It's going to be really short. Now I'm like, oh, how the heck am I going to do that? I'll have to figure it out. But so because we don't really have one, so someone requested it, and that's fine because we're happy to help. We want to make sure you feel comfortable, since you bought it. And then everything is basically set up the way that it was requested to have it set up. Any of the background information and settings or any of your inspection types are in there. So no, it's just your site and you run with it and you do whatever you want to do.
Understood. All right. Well, I will like I said, I'll confer with the rest of the guys on the team, and then I'll make sure, to let them know that if any of us have any questions, to reach out. But otherwise, thank you so much for, taking the time this evening, and thank you for recording it. Certainly
Yeah.
be helpful, when we need to review it, and obviously I'll make sure to reinforce the idea that there's also, available trainings within the portal as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, because I find the recordings are kind of hard to watch because we have more talking going on, kind of thing. And you're like, at least for me, I always lose interest. I'm like, oh, they're still talking. We'll just do it. So
Yeah.
once the recording is done, they email it or they send it to me, and then I'll send it to you. So it's going to be a big file. So I might have to send it through like Kiteworks, which is encrypted. But I'll get it to you guys either way. Okay.
Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you so much, Deborah. We appreciate your
Thanks.
time.
Yeah, of course. Stay away from that power plant.
Yeah. Well, we don't have anywhere else to go.
Anyway.
All right, you guys have a good one.
Okay, you too. Thank you.
You as well.
Bye.
Have a good evening.
Thanks. Bye-bye.